Welcome to the Impact in Action weekly live show, where we talk about mindset shifts and tactical approaches to help you put your impact in action. So, money. Let's talk about money. Money is a sticky subject for many, right? And pricing can be a stressful and emotional topic, but it does not have to be. And it's something we got to talk about. So, today we are going to break down 3 key steps to setting pricing that is going to attract your ideal client and allow you to make enough money to build the life that you want to build. So, we are going to jump right in onto the subject. So my name is Maryann Lombardi. I am the founder and CEO of Maryann Lombardi Coaching. I am also an author. I help women and non-binary entrepreneurs ditch that work-life balance battle so that they can build a profitable business that is in alignment with the life that they want to live. So we're going to jump right in and talk about money because we have to, because money is a big issue and it is the thing that is going to help us fund that life. And the reality is, money is power. Now, I just want to talk about the word power for a second. Like, as a definition, right? Like, power is the capacity or the ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. So, power is energy, right? It's force, it is influence. And that power is important because it allows us to influence our own behavior and direct the events of our life, right? The course of action that we want for our life. So taking control of our money is essential. And as a business owner, we have the power to direct our financial future, which is why this is so important. And it's vital that we don't perpetuate, right, the gender pay gap in our own businesses by not paying ourselves enough, right? By not paying ourselves what our time and our attention and our services and our expertise is worth. So in order to empower ourselves to build a business that's in alignment with the life that we want to live, we have to have control over our money. We have to build wealth. So let's talk a little bit about context before we get into these steps, right? According to Elvest, right, wealth disparities start very early in life. Parents pay kids that identify as boys twice as much in allowance than they do their kids that are identified as girls. It's also worth noting that in one study, 65% of financial articles aimed at women told them that they are excessive spenders. And they encouraged women to find bargains and coupons and control their splurges, right? Whereas articles aimed at men told them to dare to invest and to spend and to increase their power. And 5 times more women than men live paycheck to paycheck without an emergency fund. Non-binary individuals and trans women are 4 times more likely to live in extreme poverty than the population as a whole. So we have been conditioned to feel a certain way about money, right? This comes from a very deep place. We've been conditioned by our parents, by our family, by our schools, our culture, media, clearly, society, all of that. And thanks to the context, this matters, right? For this conversation, all of that context matters. And historically, women have invested less of their money than men. But it is a good way to start investing in yourself, right? Investing in your goals, in your dreams, in the business that you want to start. So that's what we are going to talk about today. So we're going to dig in, and I've got a handy little presentation to help us make it through, because we might do a teeny tiny bit of math as we're going through this. So let's talk a little bit about pricing. So the 3 keys to pricing our offer, right, to attract your ideal client and support the life you want to live. Let's dig into this first one. We got to work backwards, okay? So the job of your business is to support the life that you want to live. There is no work-life balance. There is only one life, right? You got one life. And your work's job is to support that life that you want to live. But in order for your business to support the life that you want to live, you need to know what kind of life that you want to live. And we don't really spend a lot of time figuring that out, right? We spend a lot of time figuring out the who, what, why of our business, but we don't apply that who, what, why to our life, right? What does that life look like? What's the vision of that life? What does it feel like when we wake up in the morning in that life that we want to have? Now, I have a training coming up that is going to go way deep into this visioning of your life and planning for that life that you want to live. So, we're not going to go completely into that right now, but it's important to know that your pricing is key to making that vision and that plan a reality. When you're structuring your business around that, it is essential to factor in how much time and how much money you need to live that life that you want to live. If your ideal situation is living in a mountain town, right, where the cost of living may be low, and maybe you want to spend a lot of time outdoors, you want to hike, you want to do all sorts of outdoorsy things, you know, you're going to need to structure a business and your revenue model and your pricing that's going to serve that purpose. Whereas if you want to live in an urban environment that allows you opportunity for culture and events and activities, and say you want to be traveling 4 months out of the year, you would make different choices about how much money you need, how much time you need, how you would structure that business offer, your revenue model, and your pricing. And this is important to think about because if you plan your business without thinking about the life, you're going to find yourself in battle between those two things, right? You're going to be struggling to make enough money or to have enough time to do the things that matter to you because you haven't really thought about it. So what we need to do is we need to work backwards to go forwards. We need to reverse engineer it. So you're going to think about how much money you need to net at the end of the year. And remember, net is the amount of money you have after expenses. So how much do you need to net at the end of the year? How much of that is that per month? And then you can work on building your products and services with that pricing in mind. So let's look at an example of this just to get a sense. So, and keep in mind, these numbers are low. In my mind, you should be shooting for high, mid-high six figures, but we're picking some numbers that are where the math is relatively simple. But this does not mean these are your numbers. These are just an example. So say you want to make net 150K a year, right? And you want to work only 20 hours of a week, right? Let's assume that it costs you about 50% of that 150 in expenses. So we're going to add on another 75K to that 150. So you need to make, say you need to make 225K in order to net, need to gross 225K in order to net that 150. So just a little bit of basic math. That's roughly about 19K a month or 4,750 a week. Now, if you are a coach and maybe you are only working one-on-one with clients, that's your motto, your primary revenue driver is working one-on-one with clients, and you're charging $250 an hour. You would need to coach about 19 hours a week, plus another, and I'm making this up, say 10 a week at least for marketing, administration, lead generation, preparing talks, writing, taking notes, all of that kind of stuff. And this is going to depend on your staffing situation too, how much support you have. This is over 20 hours, right? You're looking at 29 hours. And that doesn't work. So this model of going one-on-one at 250 an hour is not going to meet what you need it to meet, which is your 150K and working no more than 20 hours, right? So you could change this up a little bit, right? You change up the math. So say you're charging now $500 an hour, right? That would have you coaching about 9.5 hours a week, plus the other 10 for all of that admin stuff. And I'm just going to use admin to meet all of the different things that could be bumped into that. Now, this gets you closer to your 20 hours, right? Because it's at 19.5 total hours. But maybe 9.5 hours a week of coaching is too much for you. Who knows, right? Like maybe that's a lot to maintain a week of working with, and maybe that might be 9 clients. Working with 9 clients a week might be a lot. It might not, but maybe it is. Let's just say it is. And that 19.5 total hours is really close to that 20. It doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room, right? So another option is, what if you're charging $750 an hour? Now, as you can see, this is getting you close to being under that 20 hours, right? That's like about 6+ coaching hours with those extra 10, and that gets you under your 20. And you can even bump this up to 1,000 an hour, right? And that gets you under 5 hours a week plus that. So you get the idea. This is a math equation. If you start with what you know you need to make, what you need to net, and how many hours that you want to work, you do the math backwards, as opposed to starting from, oh, how much do I need to charge? What do I feel comfortable with charging? And then working from that direction. Now, you start with what you know you need to make and how many hours you are willing to work, and then you set your pricing. Now, if we're looking, say we're looking at this, $750 or 1,000 an hour. Maybe this 6+ hours of coaching and that 10 hours of admin feels right? Then you structure this offer and this client attraction around that amount, right? And a lot of times people get stuck with the idea, oh my God, that's too much money. No one is going to pay that. I guarantee you there are people out there that will pay $1,000 an hour, $750 an hour, whatever it is, or more for coaching services, right? But you would work on building that offer around what you know you need to charge and what you want your revenue model to be in order to build the life that you want to lead. Now, if you hear yourself start to stress out about charging that much, I want you to listen to the modern day prophet, Michelle Obama, saying in your ear, when they go low, you go high. Repeat it over and over. When they go low, you go high. It's a great reminder on all fronts. Now, maybe you decide you don't really want to charge more than $500 an hour, but you don't want to work over that 20 hours. Then maybe you have to change this one-on-one model. Maybe you can only do a couple clients one-on-one, but you add a group coaching model into it, right? Maybe you add a digital product into it, right? It gives you options to figure out what your revenue streams are to make up that $150K. So as you're going through this, you're going to notice how this connects to that who, what, why of your business, and how it connects to developing that irresistible business offer. It directly connects to who in that training, right? The who part, the who your ideal client is. I did a training on this, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I will add it into the show notes or in the comments, depending on where you are watching this replay. But your ideal client is going to need to match the time and the money needs you have for building your business. So let's look at the second part of this, the second key. You got to remember that your rates are not about you, right? They're about the transformation that you are going to provide for that client. So you are not selling yourself, right? You're selling a transformation, this transformation that you provide. So you need to separate the complicated feelings that you have about selling yourself from the act of selling itself. So your client has this amazing opportunity to transform their life by working with you. Think about what that transformation is worth. How much it is worth for them, right? How much are they going to gain through your work together? How much time is it going to save them? How much more money are they going to earn? What about the connection with their family, right? Like, how is the connection with their family, their spouse, their partner, their children? How is that going to grow because of your work? If you're a health coach, think about the impact the improvement of their health will have on their life long term. What is that worth? I guarantee you it's worth a lot. So building your business is about you, but the work of your business is not about you. It's about them. It's about your client. So you have to focus on the reframing and remember that your rates are not about you, they're about the transformation that you're providing. It's also key to understand that your skills and your experience and your intuition and your expertise are all the things that lead to this transformation that you provide that client, and we'll just put those all under the term skill, right, for short. So you're selling your skills. You are not selling yourself. You need to take yourself out of it. Your work is a collection of those skills, and you've combined them, and all of that makes the ideal person be able to have this transformation. So certainly you're bringing yourself to those skills, but the skills are the key. All right, so let's talk about this third step. You got to talk it out. right? The subject of money brings up all sorts of shit for people, right? Like it's deep. If you think about the context of the stuff we talked about at the beginning, like this runs deep, how we feel about money, what money means to us, our conditioning around money. And if it's difficult, these subjects are difficult for you, as they are for many, many people, for women specifically, it's very difficult. Invest in help to talk it out, right? Find yourself a mindset coach who can help you, or a good therapist, and invest in yourself because it's going to pay dividends far into your future. And let's be clear, get a coach, not a friend, right? Because happy hour is awesome. Big fan of happy hour. It's awesome to get together with your friends and talk this shit out. But it's not going to solve this challenge, right? It's not going to solve challenges that take some significant investigation and work. And the reality is, people who are serious about their business, serious about building a business, get serious about getting support where they need it and when they need it. It takes money to earn money. And you can be smart about those investments, right? If money is a block for you, then make it a priority now to work through that block, right? I have two coaches. I have two business coaches. I've got one health coach, and I've got a personal coach that I've worked with in the past who I call when I get stuck, right? Or when I have mindset blocks, or I'm trying to work out a problem, that kind of thing. I give them a call. So having a coach is super important for this work. And our money mindset is key to this situation. So understanding those patterns that you have and the behaviors or your emotional relationship to money is going to be vital. So in the meantime, while you're trying to find a good money coach or therapist, start taking note of what you're discovering about yourself, right? Like what's coming up for you. You can write down your objections, write down your self-talk as it comes up, because there's power in getting it out of your mind and seeing it on paper in front of you. You can try it for a couple of weeks and see what patterns emerge. And this will be really useful when you find that coach or therapist to share this with them, right? Like take note of what thoughts are you thinking? Like what's coming up? What thoughts are you thinking? Write them down every time they happen. What images come to mind when you start thinking about money, charging, paying, all that kind of stuff? Like what are the images that flash in your mind? Big one is, what's the language that you're using with yourself? How much of that are your words, and how much of that are other people's words that are replaying in your mind? Another big one is, what actions are you taking to avoid dealing with your money shit? Right? Like what do you do that keeps you from having to deal with it? Right? Because the context matters, as we've talked about before. We all come to the table with stuff, right? Like we pack it into our backpack, into our suitcases, and we just bring it along with us. And that context is a mixed bag of all of those circumstances and expectations and experiences that we sit with, and we show up and we sit with all of them at any given moment. And loving yourself enough to take the time and effort to understand those things makes us better. It makes us fuller. It makes us more brilliant and bold and beautiful. And leaning into that vulnerability to do that work is power. So let's recap what we talked about. So the 3 keys to pricing this offer, your offer, to attract your ideal client and support the life that you want to live. Number 1, you're going to work backwards. Job of your business is support your life. That's its job. There's no work-life balance. There's only your life, and your work's job, your business's job, is to support that life. Number two, remember that your rates are not about you. They are about the transformation that you are providing for your client. And number 3, you're going to talk it out. Find somebody to talk to, a professional, a mindset coach, a money mindset coach, a therapist, so that you can deal with the shit that's coming up for you around money. All right. You want to talk about it more? Look me up. If we're not connected already, let's connect. Here are all my socials. Follow me, connect with me, do the whole thing there on social, because I'd love to have you in the community to talk to about this. And if you're interested in actually getting on a call, you'll see my Calendly link right here. You can jump on in for a virtual coffee or cocktail. your preference, and we can talk about this stuff. You'll find this link in the comments for this video, wherever the video is, and also in the show notes on YouTube. But thank you for spending the time with me today to go through this. It's been great to talk to you a little bit more about money and how to price that offer, and I look forward to seeing you next time.